Hey everybody. Thank you so much for joining me for this quick video. I know that you're super busy, you have tons of stuff you could be doing, so I really appreciate you being here and sort of having a little conversation with me. I know I'm going to be doing all the talking sort of at you in this video, but I really invite you to sort of like respond back, and I'll tell you how to do that. I really want to hear from you guys. But the reason why I wanted to put together this, video is I just wanted to spend 10 minutes addressing something that I've sort of heard a lot actually from you guys, um, who are craving more creativity in your life. So I recently just threw up a poll on my Instagram stories and asked are you craving more creativity? And I think it was 99% of people were like, heck yes, I am. But then there was a sort of I don't know how to actually get there. I want more creativity. I don't know where to start, or I just have all these obstacles in the way. I don't really know how to get it into my life. Um, and I so resonate with this, because I wasn't always a calligrapher, as my job. It's a very creative profession, but I actually, before this, I was a corporate um, securities lawyer. Not super creative. I did that for 6 years, guys. I went to law school. I worked in New York for 3 years, LA for 3 years. I thought I was not a creative person. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about that and sort of what I've learned just from my experience going from I'm not a creative person to whoa, I'm actually making a living doing something creative. But I just wanted to help you guys in these 10 minutes to sort of give you a framework and ask some concrete questions, and maybe help you rethink a little bit about what creativity you actually want when you say you want creativity. What does that actually look like in your day-to-day life? What's actually stopping you from getting it into your life? And then how to switch up your perspective a bit to get around those obstacles. And this is just stuff that I've sort of learned through my journey of going from way too busy, my job consumed me, corporate lawyer, to full-time calligrapher. So if you're watching this and you can, I'd love it if you could just pause for 1 second and grab a scrap piece of paper, just any whatever Post-it, anything that's nearby, and just a pen or pencil to write with. I'm going to ask you some questions and invite you to just think about some stuff. I find it just helps me a lot to write things down. If you can't, if you're running or in the car or something, don't worry about it. You can sort of think about these questions in your head. I just find it helpful to write things down. So first question I want you to answer once you have your piece of paper is, do you crave more creativity in your life? It's a simple question. Do you want more creativity in your life? Yes. Or nah, I'm good. Got all the creativity I need. Just answer that simple question for me, okay? Um, so Okay, now that you've answered that question, let me tell you what I was really thinking. Back when I was a corporate lawyer, sort of working 12-hour days and going in on Sundays and canceling dinner plans and sleeping under my desk sometimes, I really craved creativity. But here's what I actually wanted. Here's what that actually looked like for me. I wanted to come home from that very draining job, like just kind of come home, fling off my bra and pants and get in my pajamas and maybe get something to eat. And then I wanted to have something creative waiting for me, sort of easy, maybe even already set up, right? If that's possible. And some guided sort of a clear 20 minutes of something I could get into really easily right away, get lost in the flow, maybe have a glass of wine, and just not have to think about, what am I going to make? What tools am I going to use? Do I have everything I need? Where is this going? What is this going to result in? What I wanted was not just creativity in general. Actually, if you had just given me a huge blank piece of paper and some colored pencils or something, I would have been what do you want me to what do you want me to do with this? Like, this is way too intimidating. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make anything useful. I would have watched Netflix instead, honestly. So what I wanted, actually, now that I think about it, is not creativity per se, just by full stop. I wanted a creative path, like actual guidance and something that someone just telling me, okay, do these steps, follow this, you're going to get to this really cool place where you have this practical skill that's useful and purposeful and that excites you. Like, that's what I actually wanted, because of the way that my life was, because of the way my job was. So I want, if this is, I think it's sounding familiar to anyone, let me know. But for now, just maybe go back to your piece of blank paper, and just one more question I want you to sort of think about. What do you want creativity in your life to look like? Like, if I say joyful daily creativity, what does that mean to you? Like, what do you picture? So just take a few seconds and sort of jot down that answer. What does it look like when you come home from work, or you put the kids down, or you like finally get some free time for creativity? Like, what does that actually look like for you? So take a few seconds to write that down. I'm just going to check on my notes to make sure I'm not veering totally off. Okay. Okay. So I know this now, right? That I wanted more of like a creative path. I didn't know it back then. I thought I just wanted more creativity. And I had this idea of what creativity meant and what it meant to be like a creative person. I thought it was like, oh, you dive right in and you try stuff and it clicks. And then you like, on your own, and you just like, you found your passion. So what I did was I just like, every new sort of shiny thing that popped up, like on Instagram or Pinterest, like a craft that I saw, um, I would kind of be like, "Oh, I'm gonna try that." So I just kind of like look real quick online and buy some supplies, craft supplies. Maybe it was like jewelry making out of wire, or it was like crocheting, or it was chalk painting old furniture. Like, I would just kind of do a little bit of like research. Oh, buy like all the sort of craft supplies. Sometimes they were right, sometimes they were wrong. I get them. I'd be like really excited at first. Uh, and I maybe do a little bit, like that was kind of fun, but then I just kind of like peter off, and I would get home and be like, okay, what am I going to do now? I kind of need to figure out where I'm going with this. What am I going to make? What am I actually going to use it for? I started, it was like too much thinking, honestly, and no guidance. And I just would kind of peter out my interest. I would like lose interest. And then I would like tuck those craft supplies away in a closet. It became my like guilty unused craft supplies closet that just got like stuffed full of stuff that I didn't end up using for too long. And I just did this like over and over again. And then I would feel really bad about myself and blame myself for not being a creative person, because I clearly didn't have a passion and it wasn't clicking for me. And like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, I guess I'm not creative, and it's like not for me. So that's what happened with me. Like, and now I see, I mean, I need some sort of a lighthouse, some sort of like a purpose for my creativity. I like it to be practical. That's just the kind of person I am. Um, so actually, let me ask you, if that sort of craft supplies closet situation is feeling at all familiar. Write down on your piece of paper, what do you think is stopping you from getting more creativity in your life? If you want more creativity, what is it, like the number one thing that's stopping you from actually getting it into your life? So I'll give you a few seconds to answer that question. Okay. And I kind of jumped ahead a little bit, so I'm going to backtrack a little bit here. What I was telling you before is that I now realize that like, I am a type of creative. Okay, so let me bust a myth for you, that there's just like this, one type of creative. There's a creative, like if you're a creative, you just create for the sake of creating. You just take joy in like making things just for the heck of it. Like you could burn it, whatever. It's the vision of like that artist, right? That's in his studio and just like flinging paint everywhere and like doesn't matter like what he's getting dirty and what he's going to use that for. And if it's a waste of time, whatever, like doesn't care, just pure artist creative, right? So that's like the myth of the creative we have in our head. I actually came across, I think that there are types of creatives. So maybe you're just a different type of creative. Before you write yourself off as like I'm not a creative person, I want you to think maybe you're a different type of creative. So I was kind of googling this a little bit, and I found this really interesting article that actually talks about this, that there are like maybe there are some types of creatives. They're all creatives, they just function a little bit differently. So there is like a daredevil creative who just fearless self-expression, no problem with that, blank canvas, fine, they're like totally okay doing their thing. That's one type of creative. And then there's another type of creative called the apprentice, who like they crave creativity, but they just like they aren't quite there. They don't quite have like the knowledge or the skills or the confidence to quite go out there. They're like they need a little guidance. Like the ideal situation would be like apprenticed to a master. Like this is how it actually used to work, right? How artists and painters and sculptors like actually used to work. You'd be an apprentice. It's a totally valid type of creative. Isn't that cool? Like you don't have to be the like super fearless artist type. Like you can be this creative soul who just wants like some guidance and who wants someone to tell them what to do, especially in the beginning. And that's the joyful kind of creativity for them. So if you're feeling like maybe you're an apprentice creative, that's super cool. I want you to like leave a comment or like um, send me an email or something letting me know, because I would have loved to have heard this back when I was trying to find my creativity. Um, that I was just a certain type of creative type. So if that's sort of ringing true for you, then I want you to just walk away a little bit empowered to think like, hey, maybe I am creative. And maybe I can get some creativity into my life. I just have to think about it a little bit differently. So maybe instead of finding the new shiny craft thing and on Pinterest or Instagram or whatever, and then just like, doing that without really thinking about it and just reaching for the next shiny penny, maybe stop and really reflect a bit and think, what is like the one thing that I really want to try? And this might be kind of hard. I totally acknowledge that. There might be many things you want to try, but is there one thing that sort of like keeps coming back into your mind, that like keeps coming back into your life, keeps calling to you? Is there one thing that maybe you as an 8-year-old was like totally into it? Is there maybe a common thread of building or color or I don't know, something that's calling you? Is there one sort of creative activity or craft or skill that's really like that's the one that's really calling to you? Maybe try that one and really take a little bit of time in the beginning to find some guidance around that one. Think of yourself as an apprentice creative. Like you just that guidance is that's how you find your joy and creativity. Um, and sort of look into how you can get a bit of a roadmap, a path, right? Some guidance with that. So that can be like a series of workshops at a craft studio near you. It can be joining like a knitting circle or other sort of community doing it together. It can be an Instagram challenge that you find online. It can be an online course, whatever it is that is going to give you a bit of a roadmap and guidance. Maybe look into that and see if that's what you need to really get that creativity that you crave into your life. Because I'll tell you what, um, that's what I ended up needing. I tried a bunch of stuff, but it wasn't until I really like took a calligraphy workshop, like got some guidance, got a path. That's what I needed to really like think, ooh, I can do this. This is practical. I know where I'm going. So, final question for you to write down on your blank piece of paper. Maybe just some ideas. Just take a few seconds and brainstorm, what could that one creative thing be for you? Calligraphy, knitting, letter writing, weaving, cooking, whatever it is that you sort of keeps calling to you, or maybe a few ideas. What could that be? That thing that just sort of keeps coming back to you. So I want you to write that down. And then I want you to think about just one or two maybe concrete steps that you could take to try and get yourself a path, a bit of an apprenticeship to pursue that creative thing. This isn't, I don't want you to make like you don't have to write down like a 20-step plan or whatever. It's just to get you like kind of brainstorming a bit, on like, okay, I really want creativity in my life. What is it that's actually stopping me? Is it that I don't have whatever time or resources, or I'm overwhelmed? Or is it that I can approach creativity a little bit differently and get some guidance, and that's how it's going to get into my life? So that's sort of the framework that I wanted to share with you. Those are the like ahas that I wish that I would have had back when I was a lawyer, like desperate for more creativity. Because my mission, guys, it's not to teach calligraphy. Actually, it's bigger than that. It's to help as many people as possible get in touch with that creativity inside them. Because I really believe you can tell yourself you're not a creative person. I personally believe, just from my experience and from what I've seen, that everybody has some kind of creativity inside of them. But it just looks different for each person. It doesn't have to fit a certain mold. So if you have that creative spark inside of you, but it's been ignored for a while or pushed aside or maybe not prioritized, right? Or maybe not um, emphasized and awarded and seen as important. If I can help you just get in touch with that a little bit, that is my mission. Because I really think that that's like the starting point for a lot of beautiful things, powerful things, ultimately things that make your life better. So that's my mission. I want to help people uncover sort of like some of the blocks, some of the obstacles, help them maybe get around it. If calligraphy is the thing that you're drawn to, then absolutely I want to help you to get more of that in your life. But just creativity in general, I feel is so powerful. So thank you so much for tuning in for this video. I would love to hear if you had any ahas or realizations, or just even a tiny little shift in the way you think about this stuff. Come follow me on Instagram. It's a great place to sort of continue this conversation with you. I'm Crooked Calligraphy, CROOKEDCALLIGRAPHY. I just realized that I didn't introduce myself at all. I'm Sheena. Yay. I'm really great at this video stuff. So come follow me on Instagram. I respond to all of my DMs. So send me a message, say that you watched this video. Like, let me know what your aha is. I'd love to have a chat with you. Or you can always comment to this video. And I'd love to hear what you have to say. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys.